Do you have a favorite coffee?
Whatever is black is good. No, we have the arpeggio for an espresso.
Mm-hmm.
That is good, but there's one Cuban coffee that is here that is really, really good too.
All right.
Yeah.
You good?
Yep. Go ahead.
Didn't see Jande out there today.
Yeah, he's out for the game. So yeah,
Did he suffer a reoccurrence of the injury?
it's more he was stretching in one action. Probably you remember one action blocking across from DeAndre, and he felt some discomfort. So we're gonna be cautious with that. And he's out for this game. We'll see next week.
Okay. And Steen, is he fully cleared or is he questionable?
No, he's been training. Today he was modified, but he's been training the whole week, modifying a couple of sessions. So I think he will have some involvement in the game, yes.
Gigi was just talking about at some point you being perhaps more vocal with the team about some mistakes or about accountability. I was curious if you wanted to share any of that, and was it by design or was it simply a truly instantaneous reaction?
No, I think I've been when needed firm in certain messages that we need to address with the players. I understand the difficulties at playing football. I was a footballer for many years, so I understand how difficult it is to be in those environments and do all the right things at the right time. And you have to respect opponents, you have to respect the game, and how difficult it is to be a footballer in general. So I'm not that big. I don't put that amount of criticism on them. Because I understand the difficulties. But at the same time, when we have certain principles or certain things that have to be done, and when you lose 5 points out of 6 at home, of course you have to send a message. And I think it was the right one. It was more on the film the other day, that right after the game, I'm trying to be less emotional after the game, so my speeches are a bit shorter after the match. And when we do the film review, that's where we address certain things. And I was maybe a bit more than normal, but I think the whole coaching staff is or tries to be very clear in the demands of the team. We want to have clarity in most of the actions, whether we're attacking or defending. There is clarity on what we try to do, and then we just put that demands on the players. So. I can understand, but I think it was needed. When you lose 5 points out of 6, you need to address a few things.
Gigi said he liked it for what it's worth.
Yeah, I know they like it. I know they like it. I know players want clarity too. Players want that. Players want to understand exactly what the coach demands from them, because then there's no uncertainty. There's no worse thing in football that you go on the game and then you are with the first time ball on your feet and you know what I do now. That's not a good situation. We want to give them a lot of clarity try as much as we can in each situation, what are the principles that apply for that situation, right? And then the decision making comes, and that's what we're addressing mostly, is the decision making, because technically they're good, tactically I think pretty much they understand, but it's the decision making, offensively and defensively, situations, what we are addressing with them, and I think they're getting the message.
The team announced a director of methodology earlier this week, Javier. Yeah, I know y'all go back a little bit, but I was curious your impressions of him and how he's going to help the franchise.
Very good. The first impression was amazing. I mean, we knew each other because the first year I was here, we played against his team in Toronto twice, one at home, one away, and so we knew each other. But of course, we talked a little bit last week. This week, last week or this week, we talked a little bit, and by a little bit, I have to say 4 hours and a half. We started to talk about football, and we didn't stop. So we were here until 8:30 p.m. Just talking on the tactical board and methodology and tactics and all these things. Just talking about football, and I love those conversations. So every time I can have a person that is as intelligent and as understands football at that degree, I want to have as many conversations as I can, because we both learn, we both share opinions and things. So it's been amazing for me. So I hope we can be very well integrated. I hope we can work together. I hope we can do great things. I think the foundation of the academies are great, but I think he can add a couple more value things to add to the methodology in the academies, and hopefully produce even more players to the first team and better prepared. So I think it's a great signing, and I hope the best for Javier. I wish him the best.
Coach, Yokamaki said that the change in tone from you was needed. He also said that more experienced players need to give more, demand more, and essentially saying they deserve more, should take on more accountability. What are your thoughts on that? And you mentioned that you were a player. Not only were you a professional, but you played in MLS. So you understand, like, sometimes players have to manufacture the high stakes because there's no relegation. It's a different culture. Is that some part of your job? Do you feel like you have to provide the necessary pressure on these players? You look at the facilities they have. They play for a great club. They play for a great fan base. Do you have to work on them not getting too comfortable and understanding what's at stake?
Yeah, probably that could be my job if I feel like they are not feeling enough pressure, or they are not motivated to do things. But that's not what I'm perceiving. So if I notice that, yes, I have to probably add pressure. But I don't see that. I see they have some inner pressure, which is the best one, and is the demands for themselves is really high. I really see that. So I don't think that's the issue. It's more, again, I don't judge them. It's really hard. Who can judge the players? Who can judge a player like Thiago about a bad pass or a bad decision? He's a fantastic player. Many of people living in Atlanta can do anything better than Thiago. No one. Probably Thiago is the only one person living in Atlanta that can do good as he does. So who can judge him? For me, it's more guide him and trying to give him tools and situations where he can see the bigger picture and make a better decision. Is create an awareness for my players on, guys, in this situation, what the play was demanding from us? Was that shooting? Was that passing? Was that keeping possession? Was that creating a chance as fast as possible? Was that just going to the corner to spend a couple seconds on the ball? Was that kicking a long ball? Was that playing short? So out of the situation that is presented in front of us, what is the best decision that we can make? And that is what my job is. I feel like putting them on film, putting them on the tactical board, and tell them, okay, this is going to be the situation we're going to see more often than not, and this is how I think we can solve it. Do you guys see something different? Because these are the options. After that, the decision making based on what the opponent do. If the winger jumps on you, this is the situation. If the 9 comes to you, this is the situation. If the center back tries to be aggressive, how we can exploit the specific. And so making them aware of those situations offensively and defensively, I hope translates into them they making better decisions. So that's my job. But when it comes not just to that, but also managing the game, I have to be very more vocal, because again, I feel like we lost 5 points out of 6. That could have had us in top in the league and in the conference. So yes, I was a bit maybe more firm, I would call it, not aggressive but firm, and addressing things, and yeah. But again, it's not my style. I don't want to be here a dictator or anything like that. I'm firm when I have to be, but I'm understandable when I have to be understandable, and you know, my job is to give them tools to succeed. That's my job.
And your thoughts on Gigi saying the more experienced players need to take on more? I mean, it's of course he's like a captain. He's going to say that, but still.
Of course, and it's good when it comes to the players. You can see there that he's not comfortable, that he doesn't need to be pressed. He knows, and the sad thing is, again, some of the senior guys that we have, not senior but experienced players, haven't been on the field recently. Stian, Derek, Gigi, Shan, they haven't been on the field the last couple, and the performance hasn't dropped. The performance has been very similar, but of course in those little details, in terms of vocal leadership, in terms of managing situations, yes, we were lacking a little bit, and maybe that was the difference against Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Maybe that was the little difference and piece of experience that we were lacking again against 2 of the top teams in the league. So I agree with him a little bit. Yeah, the experienced guys, they need to be a bit more vocal. Yes, and we address that there. So they know. That's what I said. I don't need to put more pressure on them. they want to succeed. They want to do great. They are fully committed. I noticed that. If I don't, I would be telling you something different.
So it's the fundamentals of play that you use for accountability, not necessarily individual mistakes. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's accountability that we must have. At times I have to address individual mistakes, at times because they are big mistakes. At times I have to address more the principles of those mistakes, and whoever is in that situation doesn't replicate those mistakes. So at times it's team mistakes or unit mistakes, and that's what we are addressing. And as coaches, we are always looking for the perfection. We're always looking for the excellence. Even in a game where we have won 4-0, 4-1, 5 something, we want to improve in certain things, whether it's keeping the clean sheet or minimize the clear chances of the opponent or create more goals, create more situations, doing better in set pieces. There's always something that you can improve on, and is that process what we love. It's an endless process of improvement and trying to aim for excellence or perfection in some of your games. So we're in that quest.
You mentioned picking your spots on when to be firm, and I know there's that balancing act of putting your arm around the player, being firm, being clear. Is that evolved for you? Is that something that you kind of had an idea of how you wanted to be as a manager when you walked in the door, and it stayed true, or has it evolved over your time here?
No, probably both. I already know who I am as a coach and who I want to be, but I continue learning and I continue adapting to certain situations, and every situation is different, right? No one teaches you in the coaching license that we do situations that happen on the field with certain players or attitude or certain things that at some point you have to say as a coach, enough is enough, and I'm a nice guy. I try to treat everyone in a good way, but at some point enough is enough. But it's also not my way. I don't want to be again a dictator and they feel like in a prison when I'm putting a lot of rules. Now I want them to feel comfortable here, trying and creating also a system. The other day my coaches were making me aware of that, a system where no one is afraid of making a mistake, because when you're panicking and the coach is going to shout on me because I make a mistake, now I don't want to make it. I'm going to play the easiest pass, and at times the easiest pass is the worst pass, is the one that is going to put us under pressure, and at times it's the logical pass what we have to see, what is the play that the game demands. But we have to create a system where we are allowing players to take certain risks, calculated risks to beat the opponent. So we cannot be in a system where they're afraid to make mistakes, because that is worst.
I know you face Chicago on Saturday. A team that's having its own struggles. What about the matchup coming up, going up to Chicago and facing the Fire?
Well, number one, there are no easy matches in MLS. It's always difficult to play in that stadium. At times it's windy. It can be windy again. We saw what happened with Montreal in that crazy goal from Acosta. The wind can be a factor, so we need to be aware of that. They have very good players. I think they have a very good coaching staff that prepares them for fighting, for competing at a high level. They have some absences, or they may have some absences. They suffer 4 injured players in the same game. The last one in the warm-ups, and then one at halftime, one at first half, one in second half. So they may have a couple issues to I don't know if they're going to have a number 10, they're going to have wingers, they're going to have double 9, so there are some questions they have to answer, but it's going to be difficult because I know their coach wants to compete. He's a tough competitor and always puts his teams to fight, to compete at a high level, especially being at home. So I think Frank Lopez is going to do a good job at rebuilding that confidence and trying to go against us with everything they have. So I have to prepare my players for the best possible Chicago, and I think the players are ready.
Just last one for me. It's an obvious question, but after everything we've just discussed, the change of tone, the accountability, what are you expecting against Chicago?
Well, it's always the process we have. You expect to translate into 3 points, right? Whatever we train in the week, at times those messages are part of the training. But again, for me, it is at times you have to create certain situations on the field to spark some reaction and some toughness or resilience and that. So at times conflict, we need to normalize the conflict in the team and understand that at times we have to have arguments and we have to disagree in certain things, and that will bring more discussions and bring accountability. And again, that's the system we want to create, a system where everyone wants to do the best, and we know the system, we know the things, and then if we are not doing what we said we were doing, we have to be accountable for those. And but again, these type of things, for me, you always expect to translate into better performances, especially in the situations that we were talking about. But eventually, again, I feel like the team is fully committed. The team, as much as it hurt me and my coaching staff losing 5 points, it hurts them. You can see them that they were not happy with it, and that's why I feel like they're going to have a good response against Chicago.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gonzalo.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.